Welcome to Late Fee Legends, the podcast that takes you back to the golden age of video stores, Friday night rentals, and movies that defined the 80s and 90s. Each episode, we rewind a classic film, break down what works, what doesn't work, the soundtrack, the action figure potential, and decide if it's worth paying the late fee or something you'd leave on the shelf next to the direct-to-video sequels. So grab your popcorn, fire up the VCR, and let's press play. What's up, y'all? Welcome to the NerdCave. This is Ashton, as always, and I am joined by my good friend Lance. Say hey to everybody.
How's it going?
We are very glad that you're here because this is the premiere episode of Late Fee Legends. Tonight, we're going to hit rewind, and we're going to go back to the days before vampires sparkled in the sunlight as we take a look at 1987's The Lost Boys. Well, what you think? Are you excited?
Yeah, I'm pretty excited. Oh, this is one of my favorite movies of all time. So
yes, we've been talking about doing this for a long time. This show
for a while,
and we finally, I think we finally got our stuff together, and here we are. So, yeah, this is cool. This is a new thing. I've never really reviewed movies before. I guess I did on my old podcast a long time ago, but it's been a while, and I don't think I'm very good at this, but who cares? 12 people watch this anyway, so it doesn't really matter.
I believe we'll be good.
Yeah, so, and this I'm sure will evolve as time goes on. We'll get better at it, and we'll change the way we do things, but I think for right now, we've got us a pretty decent outline going, and we're just going to talk about the movie.
Sounds good.
Yep. So, I guess really before we get going, tell us about your history with the movie.
Well, I guess unlike some kids, I was kind of allowed to watch some of the more questionable movies when I was little, partially because I was so close in age to my aunt and she watched them. So Lost Boys was probably one of the first it probably was the first vampire movie or anything vampire that I had ever seen. And I don't know, it was so cool because it was with the times. It had a great soundtrack, which was a big bullet point on the whole lore, I guess you could say, of the cult classic. And I really dug the music. I love the cinematography, how dark and gritty it was. And I know it just, all the start of the teenage angst and all that before the early 90s. And I don't know, it's just really cool.
When did you see it for the first time? Do you remember about how old you were, what year it was?
It came out in 87, so I was 5 when it came out. It was probably around 90-ish when I saw it, probably, when I was probably about 8 or so.
Yeah. I have no idea how old I was when I first saw it.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's one of those movies that I saw when I was young, that many times, and you never fully understand a movie like that when you're that young. And then, a couple years go by, you watch it again. A couple years go by, you keep watching it. And I understood it more and more the times that I watched it. And I loved it more and more every time.
I don't remember the first time I watched it. It was probably on TV. I'm sure it was like on a random Saturday or something and we didn't even have cable obviously we didn't have cable out in the country where we live, but I didn't have satellite until high school, probably junior high. So I don't know. It had to have just been like remember the Creature feature on Saturdays?
Mm-hmm.
Out of one of the New Orleans channels. It was probably on that where I saw it first, but I can't say for sure. But it probably has been that long since I'd seen it last. So this was pretty much the first time that I've seen it. I mean, it may as well be because it's just been so long. So this was really cool to, I guess, just kind of go back in time to the 80s because, I mean, this is a very 80s movie. I mean that in the best way possible because I love the 80s. And this movie just felt
it felt like I was back in 1987. It was
It
pretty fantastic.
My aunt Christy had the movie on VHS, and I still think I have it somewhere to this day. Whether it works or not, probably not, but I still think I have it somewhere. But yeah, I saw it on VH. She had it on VHS, and I watched it all the time. And now it's one of those movies that I saw so many times when I was younger. I could go 10 years without watching it, pop it back in, and just about quote the whole movie.
Yeah.
I've seen it so many times.
Yeah. Well, it was the opposite for me, but I enjoyed the experience getting ready for this show. Well, do you want to just kind of, we'll talk about the cast and crew, get that out of the way. So this was like you said, yep, there it is. Let's talk about that poster first. Cause I think that's just a great poster. I feel like
it's an iconic movie poster.
it is.
Yes, it is very much.
I love the font on the Lost Boys. That picture, the colors, it's a good poster. It makes me want to watch it.
It's mostly black and white, except for the red background, which gives you the whole vampire vibe, but it's not like a pretty red. It's gritty.
Yeah.
Kind of like a curtain that's almost see-through, but not quite.
It also doesn't really give away that it is a vampire movie. I mean,
not at all.
It looks sinister.
Sinister, that's the best word I could use to describe it. It looks very sinister.
It does, but it's not like something that, it's like, ooh, there's vampires in this movie. I don't know what's in this movie, but that poster makes me want to find out. And that's a good movie poster. So Lost Boys, 1987. This was directed by Joel Schumacher. He had just come off of St. Elmo's Fire. Some of his other movies, obviously Batman Forever, Batman and Robin, The Client, Time to Kill, 8mm, Flatliners.
Which also had Kiefer Sutherland.
Yeah, Flatliners.
Mm-hmm.
Ever seen that movie?
I've seen it once, and it was a very long time ago. I might as well have never seen it.
Well, maybe we'll do that one day.
Maybe.
Because the premise is cool.
Yeah.
It was written by Jan Fisher and James Jeremias. They came up with the story, and basically the James Jeremias, he's only done the Lost Boys movies. I guess this was his brainchild. But Jan Fisher, she wrote an episode of Golden Girls. I don't remember which one, but I love that show, so I'm sure it was good. And she also did the 2 sequels for the Lost Boys. Have you seen the sequels?
I have. They're not very good.
That's what I've heard.
They're not.
But
they're okay to watch once or twice, but they're nothing like the original.
Yeah. The third writer that came in, and Lance, you're going to tell us a little background of the movie in just a minute. But they brought in Jeffrey Boam. Boam. I don't know how to say his name. Sorry if you're watching.
I don't either. Jeremy? I think it's Boam.
Probably Boam. But he's got lots of movies that he's written to his credit. The Lethal Weapon movies, 1, 2, and 3. Inner Space, which is a great movie that I used to watch all the time when I was a kid, even though it freaked me out.
Dennis Quaid.
Yep. Funny Farm. Love that movie.
That's a great movie.
He wrote Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade. He wrote The Phantom, which is another fantastic film.
We have got to do that one too. That's a great one.
Yes. And he also co-created and wrote The Adventures of Briscoe County Jr.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah. So Jeffrey Boam is legit. He's responsible for lots of things that I like. That's pretty
very
cool.
Nice.
Produced by Harvey Bernhard, who produced The Goonies and The Omen. The executive producers, Mark Damon, John Hyde, and one Mr. Richard Donner. Which, I mean, if you're watching this channel, you've probably watched Superman, I would imagine. It's a Richard Donner film.
Of course.
What did Donner do? I know he directed Lethal Weapon, right?
Well, yeah, it's Lethal Weapon is actually, well, I'll say it this way. Donner was originally supposed to be the head man in charge on the Lost Boys movie. and but things kept getting changed and pushed back, and he eventually kind of stepped aside to let Schumacher take over while he fell in love with the script for Lethal Weapon. So he moved to doing that, but he still helped and was still a part of the Lost Boys, even though it kind of changed.
Yeah. He stayed on as executive producer.
Right.
So yeah. What else did he do? Oh, Scrooged. He directed Scrooged. That's a great movie.
I've only seen that once or twice.
It's been a long time since I've seen it.
The biggest ones in my mind are the Lethal Weapon movies.
And you know,
I'm a little fuzzy on some of the other things he did.
And Superman, right? I mean,
besides that, yeah.
Goes without saying.
Right. We already discussed that.
And the music was composed by Thomas Newman, and he's got some fantastic films to his credit as well. Revenge of the Nerds, The Great Outdoors, which people don't talk about that movie near enough. That is great. Have you ever seen it?
Mm-hmm.
Dan Aykroyd,
John Candy, right?
So good.
Yeah.
Shawshank Redemption, The Green Mile, and then Pixar movies, Finding Nemo, WALL-E. And he also did the music for Skyfall and Spectre. So
I didn't know that.
Yeah, Thomas Newman, he had some good stuff. And
Skyfall,
finally,
I was going to say the Skyfall theme is fantastic.
Yeah, I don't know if he wrote that song particularly, but
I got you. Just part of the.
Yeah, he did the score for the movie.
I got you.
I guess I'd look that up. But yeah, Skyfall is great. We need to do just a video on James Bond songs because, man.
Yeah, that could be a long video too.
Yes. And then finally, I'm mentioning this, the DP, the director of photography, just because he has done some great work. Michael Chapman, Taxi Driver, The Last Waltz, which is one of those, if The Last Waltz is on, if I'm flipping through the channels and see it, it's staying on that channel. And I'm watching it. It's the greatest concert film of all time. Invasion of the Body Snatchers, Raging Bull. He directed the Bad video for Michael Jackson, or not directed it. He was the DP. Scrooged, Ghostbusters 2, Kindergarten Cop, The Fugitive, and Space Jam. So
I didn't know he did Space Jam.
He did do Space Jam. So that was probably way too much time spent on the crew of this movie, but I mean, it's
a very, very, very loaded crew.
It really is. And that's why I wanted to highlight that. Very, very loaded crew.
Also, just to give you an idea of the movies that this film was in pretty much competition with that came out that year.
Yes.
Were Three Men and a Baby, Fatal Attraction, Beverly Hills Cop 2, Good Morning Vietnam, Moonstruck, The Untouchables, Dirty Dancing, Princess Bride, Predator, Lethal Weapon, RoboCop, and Full Metal Jacket.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was, there were some movies. Running Man, did you say that one?
No, I didn't. Yeah, no, I didn't see that one.
Throw Mama from the Train.
Oh man.
Yep.
That's a good one.
Yep. So it, in 1987, as far as box office goes, it finished the year at 33rd with $32,222,567, which puts it above Princess Bride, which made $30 million, but just under Adventures in Babysitting, which made $34 million.
That's another great movie. I absolutely love that movie.
Yep.
But the budget was also only $8.5 million.
It was $8 million, so it definitely got money back. The number one film in 87 was Beverly Hills Cop 2 with $153.5 million. And 1987 is stacked. Two of my top 10 favorite movies came out in 87, and that would be Predator and RoboCop.
Yeah.
That's
definitely good ones.
Yeah. And The Living Daylights came out in 87 as well.
Which are all on the list of future episodes.
Yeah. And I love, sorry, get my water here. I love those.
Unprepared.
That's how I live my life. I love the Timothy Dalton James Bond movies.
I do too.
Underrated, but I love them.
Very. I agree.
Mm-hmm. So, there we go. That was just kind of put it, like Lance said, kind of where it stands and its competition, other movies that came out that year. So moving right along, do we want to? Let's talk about let's go over the cast real quick, and then
All right.
and then I'll let you give us some background on the movie because it's got a very interesting backstory how it came to be.
Okay.
So this stars Jason Patrick, which looking into this, he was the grandson of Jackie Gleason. Did you know that?
I did. I actually read that.
I did not know that. Corey Haim, Diane Wiest, Bernard Hughes as Grandpa, Diane Wiest as Lucy the mom, Corey Haim as Sam, Jason Patrick as Michael, Edward Herman as Max, Kiefer Sutherland as David, Jamie Gertz as Star, Corey Feldman as Edgar Frog, Jameson Eulander as Alan Frog, Alex Winter as Marco, and Brooke McCarter as Paul, Billy Worth as Dwayne. And that takes
There's your Bill and Ted Easter egg if you didn't know.
Those are the main characters, and it's a good cast. Looking back now,
Oh yeah,
it's a very good cast. Diane Wiest had just come off of an Oscar win the year before for Best Supporting Actress for Hannah and Her Sisters, and that's cool.
Edward Herman's been in some really good stuff too over the years.
Yep, Edward Herman was Richard Gilmore in Gilmore Girls, which is one of my favorite shows. I will unashamedly admit that.
My wife loves that show, and it's a good show.
It is hilarious. And I don't know if it's because he's so tall or because of his name, but he played Herman Munster, and Here Come the Munsters.
That's right. And he was also in Richie Rich. He played the dad.
He played the dad in Richie Rich. Yep. And he died a few years ago. I was sad.
He did. Unfortunate.
Yep.
Great actor.
Yes, very good. Jamie Gertz. I've only really, Twister. I forgot about Twister. She's in Crossroads. Not the Britney Spears Crossroads, the good Crossroads with the karate.
She's not in very many movies. She kind of, from what I understand, she kind of lost her love for acting after a while and really didn't do that many movies.
Yeah. She was in that, what's his name? I can't think of his name. Tim Taylor, Home Improvement. And
Home Improvement?
His last show, not Home Improvement.
No, The Last Man Standing.
Tim Allen. She was in that show. But yeah, it's a good cast. Very good cast. And I'm sure we'll talk about some of their performances as we move along. Speaking of moving along, let's move along. Tell us about this movie. Tell us about the idea and where it started, where it ended up.
Originally, the two writers that you mentioned, they had an idea. They met in film school in California, and they had an idea that they wanted to write a script with the premise that Peter Pan was a vampire. So they ran with it, and they introduced it to several people, and it made its way to Donner eventually. And Donner had originally had the film, all the actors were supposed to be teenagers. And Jamie Gertz's character Star was originally a lost boy, not a girl. And I guess over time, as things began to progress and he began to move more towards Lethal Weapon and Schumacher got attached to it, Schumacher made the decision that it was more prudent to age them up a little bit and take one of the boy characters and change to a girl for a love interest. So that's how the story began and evolved eventually throughout the switch from Donner to Schumacher and other staff members. It just evolved into what became the teenage angst movie that it is. And everybody that has said anything about the film has all agreed that it was the best decision to age them up and to create a few different characters. Because Lucy was originally supposed to be the Wendy type character, but they made her the mom. And yes, I agree that was the best. I think the best way to, I guess, progress the movie more, because what it was they didn't want it to become another, basically a Vampire Goonies movie, which was what they thought it was going towards.
Yeah, that's what it was.
It's exactly what it was going to be like.
Yep.
So they didn't want another Goonie type movie with vampires, so they decided to do it, and I'm glad they did, because we wouldn't have the movie we have.
We wouldn't have had Kiefer Sutherland eating up the screen every time he was on it.
Right.
So
coincidentally, I think he is either one of or the number one actor with the least amount of words in the movie.
Yeah.
But his presence was so overpowering. That was the idea.
Yeah.
And I thought that was pretty cool little tidbit.
And also over half of his lines, I think, is him saying Michael.
That is true.
Michael.
Well,
since we mentioned it, Michael, the name Michael is mentioned 118 times in this movie.
That I did not know.
I saw that while looking up stuff about it. And I think most of them were probably said by Kiefer Sutherland. Especially I feel like in the scene when they're in their lair and he's giving them the Chinese food.
Michael. Yeah.
Michael.
There was a lot of echo and then. Yeah. That then and in the very end of the fight scene in the house.
Michael, how are those maggots, Michael?
You're eating maggots. How do they taste?
So yeah, there we go. That's pretty cool. And it was filmed in Santa Cruz. The city is the made up city of Santa Carla, but it was actually filmed in Santa Cruz. That boardwalk is still there in Santa Cruz with all the rides and the shops and everything. They're pretty cool. Wouldn't mind going.
The city did not like the idea of them being portrayed as the murder capital of the world. So to avoid a bunch of red tape and political hoopla, they decided to change the name to Santa Carla.
Santa Carla.
So they couldn't, the city couldn't do anything, about it. But it was, in fact, from what I understand, the murder capital of the world, because at the time, the serial killers were just running rampant.
Between 1970 and 1973, there were 28 murders committed by one mass murderer and then 2 serial killers. That's
crazy.
Wild that one city had that. 28 murders done by 3 people. And
that's how it got the moniker murder capital of the world.
Yep.
I don't think it is anymore.
No. We're an hour away from New Orleans. I think that
I'm taking over. I didn't want to say it. No offense, New Orleans. Don't get mad.
Yeah. So anyway, shall we get on to the movie itself?
Let's do it.
What you think? Anything else you want to mention before we dig into what's going on?
Real quick, I'll say that the movie had several nominations: best horror film, best young actor in a horror, up and comer, which was Corey Feldman, and best teenager in a favorite horror film. I think that's how they worded it. But Feldman was the one who had the nominations, believe it or not, because that was the start of the 2 Coreys.
Yep.
They went on to make 9 films together, and this was the first.
Yep.
Believe it or not, Siskel and Ebert gave this movie 2 thumbs down.
I believe it.
And it ended up being such a huge cult hit.
Definitely.
It's crazy. Just goes to show you to be your own critic.
Yep. So I'm going to throw back to my old podcast, the Bad Mama Janice podcast from a few years ago, where my good buddy Adam on that show coined a phrase, and we actually made a T-shirt of it. And I should have worn that T-shirt tonight for the video. I have to wear it next episode. But I can't remember what movie we were talking about, but we brought up Rotten Tomatoes, which is the absolute worst way to judge a movie is by the Rotten Tomatoes score, in my opinion.
Yep. I agree fully. 100%.
Yeah. But Adam got a little heated in discussing Rotten Tomatoes, and he said, you know what? be your own tomato. And I think that is excellent advice. And we got that on a t-shirt. Be your own tomato. Don't worry about what other people think. If you like the movie, like it. Don't say you don't like it because other people don't, but you really do. That's be your own tomato. Make up your own mind.
I like that.
Yeah.
Be your own tomato.
Yeah. So shout out, Adam. Be your own tomato.
Shout out to my Aunt Christy for letting me watch it when I was a kid.
I actually didn't look up the Rotten Tomato score on this movie.
0%.
Is it really?
Yes. From what I read, it was 0%.
Wow. That's ridiculous. I'm looking it up now because if nothing else, I'm all about being unprofessional during something like this. No,
I'm pretty sure
it is certified fresh at 75%.
Really? I guess I read it wrong.
The tomato meter. Now the popcorn meter, which is the fans, is 85%.
That's what.
So that's cool.
Created the huge cult following. The fans loved it more than the critics.
Yep.
And it became a huge, like a VCR and cable hit too.
Mm-hmm.
The ratings when it was on, when it first hit cable and VHS, it was outstanding.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about the plot of the movie. I guess just to kind of give a quick version of it. Lucy is recently divorced and she moves with her kids to Santa Clara from Phoenix, right?
Phoenix.
Isn't it Phoenix?
This is Phoenix, Arizona.
Yep. And so they move to town and there's, like I said, that boardwalk, and they go there. And at the very start of the movie, we see Kiefer Sutherland and his biker gang causing trouble on the carousel. And then the rent-a-cop kicks them off. And a little while later, we see a bird's eye view of flying in on the rent-a-cop as he's walking to his car, and he is lifted and grabs onto the door and rips the door off. He's lifted up in the air. It's really cool. I love that scene.
It's a great scene.
Yep.
They made a very, very good decision with the way they filmed the flight. Mm-hmm. So you couldn't see, and they left it to your imagination. And they had the budget for it, but they did that anyway, and I thought that was a great idea.
See, I was thinking that because of the budget, they had to do it that way.
No, they had a decent budget. I mean, $8.5 million in the 80s was pretty decent.
Yeah. But it was originally had like a $20 million budget, and it got cut big time. So I don't know whether it was out of necessity or just a stylistic choice. I like it. It was a good choice.
I agree. Yes. I like how they left it to your imagination.
Yep. A very good choice. So yeah, Lucy and Sam and Michael move in with Lucy's dad, Sam and Michael's grandpa, and that dude's weird, but grandpa is weird in this movie, but we'll get back to that.
Yeah.
We're just going to summarize the whole movie real quick, I guess, give a quick summary, and then we'll go back and talk about it. So we then go to the boardwalk again, and big, band play and everything. Michael sees a girl, Star, gets interested in her, gets mixed in with David and the other biker guys, and they end up hanging out, I guess is the best way to put it. Quickly, the quick version, they hang out. Michael drinks some wine and starts to change, and is turning into a vampire. And Sam meets Alan and Edgar, which I guess
the Frog Brothers.
It's weird saying Alan and Edgar. It's Edgar and Allan because Edgar Allan Poe. But he meets them, and they try to convince him that there are vampires in Santa Carla. He's not having any of it until he, witnesses Michael later on. So that's the film, really, is that Michael's turning into a vampire, and Sam's trying to stop him. That's basically. Would you agree that's a good summary of the movie? Pretty much.
Pretty much.
That's
And
the
it's
quick version.
yeah, their struggle with trying to become normal again, and yeah,
So
not die.
yeah, that's it. It's really cool. Then, there's a big twist at the end, which we'll talk about. So what sticks out in this movie to you? Like what works? What are some good things?
Maybe I'm going to be a little biased. I can't really tell you many things that don't work.
Yeah.
I think the music, number one, it has got to be the thing the glue that holds it together, because they did such a fantastic job with the music and the soundtrack. Even the songs that are not, by bands, but the title track that was written by Gerard McMahon and Michael Minieri, I guess that's how you say his name. It actually hit number 15 on the Billboard 200s in the late 80s. It's called Cry Little Sister. And it was dark, it was slow, and kind of creepy, I guess you could say.
Very moody.
Very, very moody, with that angst and moody of the teenagers, going in the late 80s into the early 90s. It was such a great just composition. And the music overall just worked very well.
Really cool vibe.
Very cool. I think the placement of the way they did the songs in the different scenes that they had, the placement of certain songs in the scenes, I think was brilliant.
Yeah.
I think they hit it out of the park with that. Besides that, the cinematography was very well written or very well shot. I think it was supposed to be a dark and grainy movie, kind of like you would think a Batman type movie would be. That's the way it is, because most of the movie isn't at night. You would think, being a vampire movie, there's very few scenes in the daylight. There are some, but the majority of the movie is at night. So it's dark, it's gritty, it's gloomy. That's a couple things that I could say right off the top of my head. The music, the cinematography. Yeah. Hey, what you got for that? I don't want to say everything.
For what works?
Yeah.
Tim Capello.
Well, that goes with the music.
Tim Capello works. That dude's awesome. He's okay. So I don't even know the best way to do this. So I watched the movie and made notes as the movie went along. Let's just go through that. And that way we'll pretty much hit the movie in order and we can talk about specific things. How's that sound? Does that sound good?
Yeah, and I'll follow along.
Yeah. So I already mentioned the security guard getting pulled away, holding on to the door. And we both mentioned my big note was, I love what it doesn't show.
Right.
In that. And like I said, we'd already talked about that, and I thought that was great. Some of the dialogue. I love the dialogue. It's very 80s. And I was thinking, like, let me find an example. So later on, and we'll probably get to it again, but whenever Sam realizes that Michael's a vampire, he says, "You're a creature of the night, Michael." And that's just so, I don't know, it's funny to me. Like, that's how I don't know, that was how he relayed that. You're a creature of the night, Michael. It's just so cheesy, but it's so.
You're a creature of the night. My own brother, a beep, beep, blood sucking vampire. You wait till mom finds out, buddy. That's the best part. I'm going to tell mom you're a vampire, but I'm telling.
It's so cheesy, but it's so
the cheesy jokes,
and I don't
the cheesy humor.
I got to thinking about that, and I can't decide if the dialogue is cheesy because that's how we talked in the 80s, or if we talked in the 80s because of dialogue in movies like that. Like
probably a little bit of both.
I know. I don't know. It's a chicken.
I was about to say the chicken egg thing.
I don't know, but it's just so 80s, and it makes me. This whole movie made me just want to go back to 1987.
Well, also on a side note, talking about Tim Capello, to me, that was one of the most 80 things about the movie was the fact that there was a huge concert on the beach.
Yeah.
Nobody does that anymore.
Yeah.
That was huge in the 80s. Beach concerts.
Yeah.
Huge.
And I don't know what Tim Capello's doing right now, but I guarantee you he doesn't have a shirt on and he's probably sweaty.
He's 70 years old also.
And he's still ripped. Have you seen him?
Yeah, he does. He is. He's in very good shape. Very good shape.
Man,
long hair too.
Tim Capello is so awesome. He was Tina Turner's sax player in the 80s when she had her big comeback tour, and he killed it. And he's still, Gunship is one of my favorite bands. Well, the first 2 albums. I don't really like the 3rd album, but that's neither here nor there. But on their 2nd album, they got Tim Capello to play sax, and he just killed it. That dude is so good.
He's a showman too. He likes to be out on stage and be kind of shocky.
Yep.
You know, he's very, what's the word? I don't want to say flamboyant, but because I don't think that's the right word, but he's very open and yeah, that's a good word. He's very eccentric. He doesn't really care. He's just going to go out there, be himself and have fun. And if you don't like it, then oh well.
Then leave it.
But yeah, that's an iconic scene in the movie of him performing on the beach.
Yes. Man, if I lived in Santa Carla, I would be at that boardwalk all the time.
Every day.
Man,
every day.
Comic book store, video store, concerts. I would
rides.
Man, that's the dream right there, isn't it? That is the dream. That would be so cool.
Oh, all the dang vampires.
But then, if you pay attention, everywhere there's a room on a pole or on a wall, there's posters of missing people. So
that's true.
Maybe I wouldn't be at the boardwalk all the time. I don't know. But man, they were just missing posters everywhere. But so when Michael sees Star and he's chasing after her, Sam's like, dude, you're chasing after this girl. What am I supposed to do? And Michael's like, I don't know. And then Sam sees a comic book store and I want to go to that comic book store. That place, that store was
it's big.
It was stopped. Yeah. I kept noticing the Marvel graphic novel, the first appearance of the New Mutants, and I want that so bad, but it's a little pricey these days.
It's funny you say that. Here's a side note. So, talking back to the soundtrack, the theme song that was written, Cry Little Sister, has been covered over the years by at least a dozen different artists, including a really heavy version that I like by a band called Seasons After. And it was recently covered by Marilyn Manson. And he did the cover for the new upcoming movie, The New Mutants.
Interesting.
Yep. So, just wanted to get that in there. Since you said that, it made me think of it. Continue.
Oh, okay. Yeah, comic book store is awesome. Max's video store, also pretty awesome. Speaking of Max, that dude's fashion sense in this movie is top tier. Satchel actually watched about 10 minutes of this movie with me. And one of those...
That's it?
Yeah, that's about to get out of her. But she... one of the scenes she saw was when Lucy went into his video store for the first time. And I said, hey, if I was that dude back in 1987, I would wear exactly what he's wearing. Because that dude was pimp. He had on...
Even had the cool clear glasses.
Yep. Who knew Edward Herman had it in him to be cool like that? But
he was.
That's another thing, man, in this movie. The fashion is just 80s. Especially Corey Haim. Corey Haim had some outfits.
And it had the different, it didn't just have one like specific code. You saw the different genres, I guess you could call it, of, people or the cliques. You saw the rockers. They all had the chains and the metal and the black leather. And then you saw the other side with the very loud, colorful sports coats over the T-shirts and stuff like that. It makes me think of Corey Haim's jacket because that was what got the attention of the Frog Brothers in the comic book store was they saw his really, really loud jacket. Civilian wardrobes is what they called it.
And Corey Haim was like, yeah, isn't it cool? And I'm like, it's not that cool, Corey. It's not.
No, it's loud, but not that cool.
Yeah, very, very cool. So then we meet, we meet David again, David being Kiefer Sutherland's character, and Star gets on the bike with him. And so Michael has to, I guess they want to race to the cliff. And Michael's like, I can't beat you. Cause Michael's got like a dirt bike and they've all got better motorcycles than a dirt bike. And,
yeah, higher end.
Yeah. I mean, motorcycles, you used to have one. But David has the line, you don't have to beat me, Michael. Just try to keep up. I thought that was pretty cool. There are some really good one-liners in this movie. That's another thing.
Many.
Yeah.
Basically saying you don't have to be the last one. You just have to outrun the last one.
Just got to be there.
Yeah.
So Michael ends up in their lair, which was this old motel that was wrecked in the 1906 earthquake or whatever year it was.
Sunk.
It sank down into the fault line. And man, that is a really cool hideout. One of the best ones in any movie, I think.
Yeah, I agree. Right there on the cliff's edge with the fog. You can't hardly see over the cliff, and the lighthouse barely visible.
Very cool.
Secluded.
And then it had since it was a hotel, it's got all the hotel decorations. But it also, since it, fell, it's kind of like a cave all at the same time. Very, very cool.
The big poster of Jim Morrison is what I get out of that. That's iconic to me, is the Morrison poster in the cave.
Yeah. And that's also the scene where David says Michael's name a Brazilian times.
A lot.
Over again. I don't know. I wrote down quotes that I liked. Another one was later on whenever Michael goes back to the house, and I can't remember exactly what he did, but Sam says, "Are you freebasing? Inquiring minds need to know."
Inquiring minds want to know.
He immediately jumped to, "My brother's a cocaine addict."
Yeah.
I thought that was funny. And then right after that is "You're a creature of the night, Michael." Just so great. And let's talk about Corey Haim. His charisma is off the charts. Like he was just born, I think, to be in movies. Do you agree?
Oh, I agree. Yeah. I agree. Another great, speaking of one-liners that you said, was at the boardwalk when they were there, and Michael was trying to follow Star. He told him, he said, "I'm at the mercy of your sex plans, bud." And then, and when she got on the bike and left the first time, with David, he said, "She stiffed you."
Yep.
It was, he had a sense of humor, but it was almost like a sassy sense of humor.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, the one-liners were great.
Yeah. And
very great.
I thought that Sam and Michael had a great relationship.
Jason their connection.
And
yes. Their
Yeah.
connection on screen was fantastic.
They had great chemistry together. It was
very much.
Yeah. They seemed like brothers.
They did very much.
I guess when, you have actors who are acting like brothers, that's kind of what you want to get out of them, is them acting like brothers. But it was really natural with them. I thought they had
very organic.
Yep. That's the word. Very good chemistry together. One thing that didn't work for me, and I honestly, I didn't know anything about Diane Wiest, but I was like, man, this chick is a terrible actress. Like, she was annoying. The way she said her lines grated on me. I'm like, she is terrible. And then I saw, she had just won an Oscar the year before. And she won another one later too, for another Woody Allen movie that she was in. I was like, maybe she doesn't suck. Maybe this is just how she's written and how she's supposed to be. But she just She annoyed me.
She was supposed to be like that, I think.
A flighty, I
The
guess.
Yeah, she was. I guess she was supposed to be basically the little one. The little one never does any wrong. Um, the big brother's the one that's supposed to watch after the little one, and just just ying nag 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 about every little thing. Never felt sorry for herself. Just overbearing. That's a good word.
Yeah,
Her voice got on my nerves. Her voice.
It was the delivery of her lines I didn't love. And then I found out she was an Oscar winner. I was like, what do I know? I'm just a dude sitting on the couch watching a movie.
You're the tomato.
I don't know anything about acting. So yeah, and I thought Grandpa was cool. He was a strange fella. Very strange fella.
He was mysterious. I would say he was kind of odd and mysterious.
Yeah.
Because you didn't really know much about him. But I mean, the first scene you see of him, he's literally he's laying on the porch when they get there. They think he's dead.
How long do you think he's been there?
I probably saw him driving up, probably a minute or two.
You think? Because I mean,
he'd probably be watching for him. He seems like the type that would just sit there and watch for him all day long, just so he could play a joke on him.
Yeah.
Yeah, like a 30-second joke. Wait 24 hours.
Because I mean, they didn't have cell phones to call him. Hey, I'm about to pull up.
No.
So
no texting.
Yeah. And where he was, like, it seemed like his house was at the end of a long road, and he probably heard them coming.
I'm sure.
Yeah.
Saw the dust too.
I also kind of want to picture him like really committing to the joke and just laying there half the day.
He was in the shade.
That's true. But yeah, Grandpa was cool. I like that he had his own shelf in the refrigerator. The old fart.
Old. My root beers and double stuffed Oreo cookies. Nobody touches the second shelf but me.
I thought that was cool. Did you see? Yeah. Did you see anything about the fan theory on Grandpa?
Mm-mm.
That he is half vampire?
Yeah, well, yeah. That's been theorized for years, but.
And that his root beer is actually animal blood.
Blood?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe. I like it.
Ah.
Why not? Another thing that didn't work for me since I mentioned, what's her name? Diane Wiest. And I don't know, maybe you can enlighten me, but we actually talked about it earlier, so I don't know. But when that kite shows up at Max's and like hits him, what is that? Like, what is the point?
That is my biggest complaint about the movie. It's like they had to add that in to make it seem like those two were not connected.
That's my note here says, bat kite at Max's. What was the point? Just to throw us off that Max isn't a vampire?
That's exactly what I felt like they did. They had to do something to stop you from thinking that Max could be the head vampire.
But in the story, it makes no sense.
No.
So I don't...
Why would they do that? Nobody else saw that.
I don't know. And unless it was something that was cut out, maybe. Like,
it could have been a deleted scene. It wasn't any that I've seen.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what that was about. No idea.
It just didn't work.
One thing about this movie, though, and I do like it, is that it doesn't hold your hand and explain everything. Like, we don't.
Yeah, it leaves your imagination up to a lot.
Yeah, we don't know anything about David's backstory.
None. Or the Lost Boys, period. Yeah. Any of them.
We don't know anything about Max's backstory. Now, I read some stuff about Max's backstory of, stuff that was written later. Did you see any of that?
I saw bits and pieces. I saw that's kind of what they were going to touch on. See, this movie was always meant to have a sequel that was supposed to be a soon after sequel. And Max, there was supposed to be an extra scene, like a deleted scene or whatever, that played after the credits went off of surviving vampires that were still in the hotel cave. And there's like a picture on the wall of the early 1900s
From
of
Who Tell was their original.
yes,
Yeah.
of Max,
Mhm.
and looked exactly like he did.
Right.
You know, so yeah, I don't know why they didn't do that, because at the time they thought they were going to do a sequel. So I still don't know why they didn't do the deleted scene, or that, after credit scene, I should say.
Did you see where in one of the stories, or one of the early versions or something, I can't remember, where Max was Dracula's brother? Did you see
Now
anything
that I
about
did
that?
not see.
Yeah. Yep.
Huh.
Yeah. Isn't that weird?
Yeah, that's a little weird.
Yep.
Yeah, that's a little weird, I have to say.
And that David was actually turned by Dracula. I don't know.
I didn't see any of that.
And I like mystery, which, if anybody's watched other videos, I'll enjoy not knowing things about characters.
Yeah.
Where I'd mentioned about Wolverine after Origin came out, I liked how before that we knew nothing about Wolverine's backstory, and I love it. I enjoy not knowing who David is, not knowing how old he is. Is he, had he, is he hundreds of years old? I don't know. He could be.
Is he 25?
I don't know. Is his mullet amazing? Absolutely.
He was supposed to survive too, because if you remember his death scene, he was impaled on a pair of antelope horns,
Mhm.
which are not wood. So he was supposed to survive and be the antagonist in the second movie.
But that would have presented a plot hole, because if Max was the leader, shouldn't David have turned once Max died? Turned back to normal?
No, because he was
If
not
he
a
was
half
already
vampire.
a vampire? Is that what it is?
All him and the Lost Boys, all him, he and the Lost Boys, they were all full vampires because they had fed, they had killed.
So it's only half vampires that would go back to normal with the leader skill.
Laddie, Star, and Michael.
Michael, yeah. Okay.
Because they never fed. They never killed.
So, okay. I didn't know if it was all vampires would go back to normal. That makes more sense.
And also another thing is, I mean, who says Max is the one that turned David?
Yeah. It was Dracula. Could have been. I don't know.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. So the dinner scene where they try to prove that Max is a vampire, that was pretty funny.
Yeah, I knew that was not going to go good. The first time I really saw and understood it, and I was like, yeah, this is not going to go well. The whole throughout books and movies and shows over the decades, there's always something in common. There's always several things in common with vampire lore, I guess you would call it. And the one thing that's in common, or one of the few, is that vampires cannot come in your home unless they are invited. There's always something to that effect involved. Yep. Now, whether they physically can't come in or they come in powered down, there's still that's a commonality between all the vampire stories.
Yeah. But that scene was pretty funny with the garlic instead of the Parmesan and the mirror.
God, I can't imagine how that tasted.
With a lot of garlic. Grandpa was looking pretty suspicious at Max. Grandpa knew something was up, which we find out that he had known all along that there's vampires. But
yeah, he was definitely peeking through the shop door,
giving the side eye for sure.
Uh-huh.
And then we see him a little while later installing the pointy posts in the yard, and so he knew what was coming.
Yeah,
I like
it. Kind of makes you feel that way.
I like Grandpa. Grandpa's a cool guy. Weird, but cool. How'd you feel about the it never really says it in the movie, but in the credits they're listed as the Circle Nazis, I think.
Yeah.
That scene was pretty brutal once they finally vamp out. And
that was a very graphic scene. The rest of the movie was really not that graphic, but that scene stood out because of the graphic nature of the killing.
Mhm.
And not only that, it's I don't know why, but for some reason, back to the soundtrack real quick, Aerosmith's Walk This Way was playing in that scene, but it is not credited and it is not on the soundtrack. And I always thought that was kind of weird.
Yeah.
But it made the scene, it was almost like you really couldn't hear it. You could hear the beat and you could tell what it was, and barely hear a little bit of the music and singing, but it was that beat, the Walk This Way beat.
Yeah.
And you could hear that. And but also on top of it, there was, some score music, kind of gloomy and dark and apprehensive kind of feel going on because you kind of knew it was about to happen because it was the big reveal to Michael of what they are and what they had to do to survive.
Yeah.
So yeah, I liked it. I thought it was great. It was a great point to put it at in the movie, and it was also, like I said, it was by far the most graphic scene. And I feel like it kind of had to be to kind of get the point across,
How?
Because after that, one of the most important lines in the movie was when David told him, "Now you know what we are, and now you know what you are.
Mm-hmm.
You'll never grow old, you'll never die, but you must feed."
Feed. Yep. And it was pretty brutal too. I mean, they didn't just bite necks. Like David sunk his teeth into a dude's skull.
His head, yeah.
And
That was a really cool part.
One of them scalped a guy. They threw the dude in the fire. I guess I don't know. I guess
ripped his head.
Like their blood cooked, maybe. I don't know.
Little warm.
Yeah, that was definitely the most brutal scene. The most graphic scene. It's not it's a pretty soft R rating, I think, for that movie. Don't you agree? I mean, it's rated R, but it's pretty soft R. It's not.
It is. Well, they don't use a lot of bad language in it either. There's only a handful of curse words, and none of them are the big bads.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, honestly, the only thing is some graphic parts. There's no even partial nudity or anything like that or language. It's crazy because I don't know. You would think a movie like that with all that, and especially if you watch that scene.
Mm-hmm.
Without watching the rest of the movie, you would think, oh, this movie's going to be just filled with everything you can imagine, but it's really not.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'd say soft R.
Yeah.
If it wasn't for that scene, I'd say it'd be rated PG-13.
Yeah, probably so. Good point. I didn't think about that, but yeah. So shortly after that is when Sam calls the Frog Brothers up, and then they get with Michael to find their lair. And I thought that was a pretty fun scene. You can really tell that Edgar and Allan kind of aren't as experienced as they say they are, because those dudes are just making the most noise that you could possibly make while trying to sneak up on sleeping vampires. I mean,
as if
the only way they could have been louder is if they went through with cymbals going ting 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 ting. I don't know.
Yeah, it was pretty bad.
I don't know.
Pretty bad. And the place echoed so bad, and it was like, man, you can hear these guys for miles down any tunnel or cave system. The way the echoes were in that place, and the crazy part about it is, also think about going in there. Michael's not going to be much help because it's daylight. He's very weak and very tired.
Yeah.
So it's basically up to the boys. Yeah, 3 teenagers, 2 of which think they're Rambo, and one's a loud kid from Phoenix,
and one's just there for moral support.
Yeah, pretty much.
But yeah, man, and then they finally find the line about, I thought they would be in coffins, and Edgar says this whole place is a coffin. I thought that was pretty.
That's cool. What this place is one giant coffin.
Yep, I thought that was pretty cool. It was a neat way to look at it. Mm-hmm. So then they kill Bill S. Preston Esquire, and I don't know if this is where Stephenie Meyer got the idea for sparkly vampires or not. But
I knew this was coming.
But the blood had glitter in it. which is pretty neat. I mean, they said they did it to like differentiate the vampire blood from normal blood. And you really notice the sparkle when they get out in the sunlight.
In the sun?
Yeah. I mean, it's just like I had to rewind it, honestly, the first time I watched it the other day, because I was like, why are the Frog Brothers like super sparkly right now? Like, where did that come from? And I rewound it and I saw the blood. I said, oh, there's some sparkle in the blood. That's pretty glittery.
Sparkly and shiny. Very sheen.
Very cool. I liked it. I thought it was a good idea to kind of, I don't know, make the vampire blood more mystical, I guess.
Well, you also got to think, blood that comes out of your veins is straight from your veins. It's dark red, you know. But if you're something or some kind of creature that feeds on, I think a bat, for instance, if you're some kind of creature that feeds on blood, now this blood's going into your stomach, it's interacting with enzymes and things in your stomach. It's going to look different if it comes out.
This isn't a science podcast. You can't use words like enzymes.
Stomach acids.
Just kidding. Go for it.
But yeah, I mean, it's going to look different because it's treated differently, I guess, And I mean, and also, I don't know, it's almost like they didn't want that scene to be quite as graphic, so they kind of dumbed down the blood a little bit, because it was if that would have been a lot of vampire movies or a lot of, horror movies, everybody would have been covered in red. I mean, it was ridiculous, the amount of blood. Yes, everybody would have been just drenched. They would have been completely red when they came out of that place.
It was a lot.
So that might have had something to do with that.
Yeah, I don't know. It's pretty cool though. And then, later on he explains that all the vampires died differently. And I guess Marco's was just a fountain of blood.
Yes. One point though I will make that I didn't like, that was probably an overlook, but if you look real close at the stake, when he has the stake, it's a wooden stake throughout the whole first part of that scene. But when he goes to stab him, you can tell it's plastic and it's layered.
Mm.
I've always hated that, and that always bugged me about that scene. But yeah, it looked like a perfectly sharpened wooden stake up until the part where he goes to stab him, and you can see the lines where it's plastic.
I noticed it, but I didn't pick up that it looked plastic. I have to go back and watch it again.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
looked plastic to me.
So then the other vampires wake up, and David chases them and grabs, who was it? Sam's foot? I can't remember. Probably Sam.
It was Sam. It was Sam's foot.
And he pulls him into the sunlight, and then he, catches on fire a little, smokes, and draws back. And when he does, there's a tear rolling down his cheek.
I was hoping you would mention this. Do you know why?
And they left that take in there, which it's one of those things where it, like, all the stars aligned for the most perfect of takes.
It was real.
The contacts that he was wearing irritated his eyes.
It was all of them. All of them that had they were glass contacts.
It just could not. I mean, Marco died. He just had his hand burned, and the tear rolling down his face was just, it was, chef's kiss. It's just one of those moments.
Yep. I was hoping you were going to mention that, because if you weren't, I was about to.
Perfection. I love that. And I'm glad that the rest of the take was good and that they were able to keep that in there.
Yeah, it was perfect.
Very cool. So it's still daylight, and so they know that the vampires can't do anything to them, so they got time to prepare. And one of my favorite scenes in the movie is when they bust into the church and start filling up their canteens with the holy water.
There's a christening going on, and everybody's just like,
so funny to me.
It's one of those Chris Tucker moments where everybody's just like,
oh, I love that so much. I love it.
Alan Frog just goes and then leaves.
I wonder if they've done that before. Do you think they had done that before? The priest was probably like, nah, it's Tuesday.
Well,
I don't know.
I mean, after Grandpa at the end of the movie, it's not a far-fetched to think other people knew about everything. So especially maybe a priest.
They obviously knew about it because they've been pushing that vampire comic on the Sam since the first time
right?
he met him.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, the actual comic book store in the movie is an actual comic book store in Santa Cruz. It's not on the boardwalk, but it's like a couple streets over. And the guy who owns it is the same guy who owned it back then. And he has the original vampire comic in the store.
That's awesome.
And
Vampires everywhere.
And he lets, like, you can go there and he lets people take a picture with it.
That's awesome.
Yep.
That's a shame I'll probably never visit California, but that would be cool.
Yeah, that would be awesome. So they get prepared, and another just genius, this 200 IQ play is filling the bathtub up with holy water.
And garlic.
And whichever vampire that was, that garlic didn't do anything. So, did you hear him say that?
Yeah, but it didn't work. He said garlic don't work. That was just because it was there in the vicinity. It kind of really doesn't explain.
I don't know.
But you're there to, I guess you have to imagine that it didn't hurt him because it didn't touch him. I mean, it's literally like 3 or 4 feet from him.
Yeah. I don't know. He said garlic doesn't do anything. So I don't know.
What about holy water, dead breath?
Yeah, holy water definitely did something.
And another thing to point out was when they had the entire tub filled with garlic and holy water, they sunk their water guns into that tub and filled it up with the garlic holy water.
That's what another thing, a point I was about to make is that filling
was so cool.
The squirt guns with holy water. Genius. 200 IQ.
Brilliant.
200 IQ play is what that is. That death scene was great. The skeleton pops up out of the water. It's so cool. And then
it backs up all the pipes and blood bursting.
Bloody water just all over the house.
Oh,
so good. So good. And then the next death scene, also so good. Death by stereo.
The stereo.
So awesome.
The bow and arrow. Yeah.
You missed. And he said, I won't
sucker.
You missed, sucker.
Only once, pal.
Death.
That was, it wasn't really graphic, but it was intense. I'll say that. It was an intense scene.
His head blew up.
Yeah, because when he shot him with the arrow went through. Not only did it go through his heart, but the arrow went back into the stereo and it caused a short circuit. So he got electrocuted on top of that.
Yep.
And, the whole time that's the songs play in the not the NXS song. Is it in the Access song?
I think so.
Anyway, one of the songs from the soundtrack is playing really loud. And he's just being electrocuted while the stereo is playing the song. And when it's finally too much, it just explodes and he explodes along with it. And you see a hand like fall on the floor, it's flopping around and all this popping going on. All the lights are out. It's crazy.
That's a great death scene.
Oh, yeah. Great vampire death scene, but death scene, period.
Not the greatest vampire death scene.
No, but it is still a great death scene.
The greatest vampire death scene is in Buffy the Vampire Slayer, the movie with Pee-wee. Paul Rubens, whenever he gets killed in that movie, so good.
It's funny you mentioned that. Vaguely. Joss Whedon has said in interviews that The Lost Boys was a huge influence on Buffy the Vampire.
Clearly, because they look the same when they... Yep. And the term vamp out, that he got that from The Lost Boys.
Yep.
Joss Whedon's a hack. Don't get me started on what he did to Justice League.
All right. Moving on.
Joss Whedon's a hack. I'm saying it for the world to hear. And by world, I mean all 12 people that listen to this. So I thought that maybe the best line in the movie is when David and Michael are fighting. And when David says that my blood is in your veins. And Michael says, so is mine.
Yep.
So good. So good. He was able to hold on to humanity.
Yep.
I thought that was...
There was a couple good quick liners in that whole scene when he's He said, I tried to make you immortal. He said, you tried to make me a killer.
Yeah.
And then David comes down laughing and says, when he finally gets him to vamp out, he says, you are a killer.
Yep. So good.
That's a good scene.
Very good.
That's the part where you get to see Michael vamped out for the first time.
Yeah.
And and after that is a really cool scene after that's over with and he kills David or supposedly kills David. There's a really cool scene where they show Michael standing there with the smoke in the dark with like the moon glow coming through the window, and there's a part where he closes his eyes and looks up and opens them again, and the contacts are reflecting and they glow. Is a really, really cool scene.
Yeah. Yeah, that was a good
That's
scene.
one of my favorite scenes. Yeah, that's one of my favorite scenes in the whole movie, as far as picture-wise.
Yep. So then Lucy and Max show up, and Sam's like, he said, don't let Mom see the dead bodies or something like that. And I'm like, how in the world are you going to hide all of that destruction? Like, come on, Sam. Mom,
yeah,
I think Mom's going to see.
I think she's going to find out
at this point. Sheesh. So then Max reveals himself as the head vampire, and he's trying to build a family with Lucy and Sam and Michael. And another great line, the blood-sucking Brady Bunch. That was a great line.
Yep, great. The blood-sucking Brady Bunch.
Great line. And then Grandpa saves the day. He is returning from the widow Johnson's house from a date and runs the car through the house and stabs Max with, I don't know, were those attached to his car?
There were fence posts.
Oh, there were the fence posts
that were sharpened into points that were just like stacked in the back of his truck. And he just rammed the back of his truck, and they all just went. They were not secured, so they all went flying, and he caught one.
It's almost like Grandpa knew what was going on the whole time.
Mm-hmm.
Because
he was very suspicious about it.
And then he gives probably the greatest closing line in cinema history. And it's edited for my show, but go ahead and say it. What does he say?
One thing about Santa Carla I never could stomach here. All the dang vampires.
And then fade to black. Good stuff.
But don't forget, right before that, when he just walks through there and goes to the refrigerator, there's a scene where it goes back to the Frog Brothers. And Corey Feldman, he goes, how about you think we should charge him for this? That's great. It's funny because every time I hear him say that, I picture Donatello saying that. Because he was the voice of Donatello in Ninja Turtles movie, the first one. And, oh man, it's hard for me sometimes because I hear his voice and I automatically picture Donatello saying that. I can picture him standing there saying that, hey, how much you think we should charge him for this, Mikey, what do you think?
Definitely different inflection on his voice, though. He
big time.
This movie, for sure.
Oh, he did. Yeah, he did. He did.
Tough. Which, I mean, when you're wearing a band, like, the little bandana like he did, you got to sound tough. Or you look
He was told by Schumacher, him and the Coreys were told by Schumacher to model their characters after the biggest action stars of the time, Rambo, and things like that. So that's why they looked like that, because that's exactly what they were told to do. And it worked because it looked ridiculous on these teenage goobers running around fighting vampires.
So that's the movie, and those are my thoughts, just things that I picked up on throughout the movie that I liked, that I wanted to mention. You had yours that you mentioned. Anything else about the movie specifically before we move on and start wrapping up?
Not really. I mean, I could talk about it for hours and hours on end, just, scene by scene, little thing by little thing. It's just, overall, it's in probably my top 10, maybe even top 5 favorite movies of all time. And a lot of that, the ranking so high in my mind is not always necessarily what you would say because it's the film itself. A lot of it's nostalgic because it's something I grew up on, and when from a young age I've seen it, and but yeah, so it'd be crazy for me to just sit here and I could just go on. I love the movie. I could sit here and talk about it for hours, but yeah.
All right. So tell me this now. This is a little segment that I would like to do, especially with movies where I guess it's more relevant in some movies than others. But would you buy action figures from this movie if they made them?
Oh, definitely.
Yeah, that's a no-brainer.
Definitely.
Give
Definitely.
NECA the license and let them give me David. And that's really all I need. Just give me David and I'm good.
I gotta have the Frog Brothers, man.
Oh yeah. Okay, give me all of them. I'll take them all. Give me David and then give me the other 3 vampires in a 3-pack. Yep. But you gotta
also love to have.
You gotta have the chords. You gotta have both chords.
Yeah. I'd also like to have like a little, I don't want to call it a playset, but like a miniature sunken cave.
Yeah.
That would be awesome.
That would be awesome. Tim Capello action figure.
Oh man, with saxophone and the crazy little pants or lack of pants that he's wearing.
NECA's already got a saxophone mold because the Ninja Turtles coming out of their sales tour, I think Raph plays the sax. Is it Raph?
Yeah.
Yeah, it is Raph because I write everything on my shelf. They got a sax. Just make Tim Capello. That's all you got to do.
The hair and the chains and everything.
And
all the rippling muscles.
Put shiny paint on him so he looks like he's sweating or oiled up.
Yeah.
Man, why haven't they made figures for this? It's like really NECA has gone in and scooped up licenses for a lot of these 80s movies.
Have they? They need to do it for that one. There's a lot of them.
They really do. I would buy it. I would get those figures. I mean, I'm almost out of shelf space, but I can make room. I can make it happen. Yep, that would be very cool. All right. Who was your MVP for this movie?
David.
Mine
hands
too.
down.
Kiefer
I mean, he had the most presence. I mean, even like I said, with the least amount of lines, every time he was in a scene, it was intense, it was dramatic, and it was, he had an aura about him in every scene he was in that made you, it was like you have to hear what he's saying. Be quiet, Yep. His whole just the persona that he put off was just a main event. I'm the top guy. Even when Max, it was way different because Max was kind of the quirky guy you weren't supposed to suspect. You knew exactly what David was. Mm-hmm. You knew how powerful he was, and you knew what he was all about. So I think every scene with him in it was just pure intensity.
Yep. Charisma. Pure charisma, pure intensity. And I think his look had a lot to do with that. Costume design, hair. I'm telling you, that mullet, dude, is probably the best mullet.
With the little rat tails in back. Yeah, it always reminded me of Casey and JT's whenever we were little.
Yeah, Casey looked a lot like that. That's funny.
Yeah.
Dang, I had to pull out some old yearbook pictures. Yeah, I agree. David definitely is the MVP of the movie for me. And I would say Tim.
And it's not close.
But
it's not close either.
Already.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's not. It's Kiefer Sutherland. He killed it. Weakest link? Do you have a weakest link?
Honestly, I would probably say the mom.
Yeah.
Just because of how annoying it was. I mean, honestly, if you think about it, think about if both of the parents, something had happened to them and they both went to live with their grandpa without a mom.
Yeah.
that would have changed the dynamic, but it would have still been kind of similar. And don't get me wrong, if she ever sees this, which I doubt it, I'm not downing it. I don't care for the character, not only her portrayal, but the whole character is just, I don't know. It was annoying. To me, it was kind of necessary, but if you really, really got into it, you could have done without it and the movie would have still worked.
I think though that having her it made it easier to have Max in the story.
That's true.
So I'm not saying that she's like a MacGuffin or something, but Max would have been hard to squeeze in there, I think, without her.
Yeah. Unless maybe they would have, got their jobs at the VCR place, at the movie rental place.
Maybe. I don't know.
But yeah, I thought she was the weakest link because everybody else had a major, major role.
I was gonna say her too, just because, like I said, her delivery annoyed me. It wasn't good. It didn't seem natural. But the more I thought about it, and maybe you can change my opinion on this. What was the point of Laddie?
I was gonna say him, if not her. Honestly, you could have done without him, and nothing would have changed.
Nothing would have changed
because his backstory wasn't told.
Nope. All we got was on a milk carton.
That was the backstory wasn't told. There was no relationship with Star or anybody else. He was just basically being babysat the whole time.
If it would have been
what are you doing with this kid? Yeah, but think about this. What are you doing with this kid? I understand you're turning people to join your not pack, coven, whatever. What are vampires?
I don't know. Herd. Block.
Join your crew, to join your family or whatever. Why a kid? You know? Did you plan on eating him eventually? Were you wanting to turn him? Because he'll never grow up to be stronger and help you out unless you wanted to use him as like a
bait.
I don't know, a bait. Yeah, something like that. I don't know. There's just too many questions about his character. I agree. Those two definitely. And that's the only reason I didn't say him was because she was annoying.
I have a 9-year-old. And I don't know about having a permanent 9-year-old.
Same.
I just don't understand the point of Laddie. I don't know.
Yeah. When he vamped out, that always annoyed me whenever he vamped out and ran across them all, and they were like, "Holy crap! The attack of Eddie Munster." Yeah. Eddie Munster was a werewolf. It made no sense to say that.
Maybe that just meant a spooky kid. I don't know.
I didn't like that. That was one of the few things.
That scene, I could have just done without that scene.
Yeah, that scene wasn't even. You didn't even need it.
Yeah. So I think Laddie
hid behind the door.
Yeah, I don't know. Could have done without him, I guess. All right. Well, I think that's it. Unless there's something else you want to say, we'll give our final thoughts.
No.
What are your final thoughts in, I don't know, 2 or 3 sentences? I'm just throwing this on you because I didn't tell you I was going to do that, but.
Anyone who enjoys cheesy movies that are time stamped, basically, or anybody that enjoys vampires. I love vampire stuff. If you enjoy vampire stuff, go back and watch this. It's a really good movie. It's written very well. The humor is perfect. The dark humor, the grittiness of the movie. It's shot very well. You will very much enjoy it. If you enjoy vampire movies, you will enjoy The Lost Boys.
Yep. If you enjoy 80s movies, you'll enjoy The Lost Boys.
I was about to say, especially if you're 35 plus.
Yeah. Yep. That's almost my thoughts. It's a fun movie right from the opening credits. It's fun. We get, the scene with the rent-a-cop getting pulled away. We're instantly hit with just 80s, in your face, 80s fashion, 80s music. It's filmed like it looks like the 80s. It's got the cheesy 80s one-liners. It is 80s nostalgic fun. And I don't really have a whole lot of nostalgic connection to the movie because it had been so long since I'd seen it that I don't really remember it. but the movie made me nostalgic for the 80s. It made me want to go back.
If
And
you sit down by yourself, and you get into the mode where, I mean, you can watch movies several different ways. You can sit there and watch a movie with other people and talk during it, or you can sit there by yourself and really get involved, really be a part of what you're watching, and basically kind of get sucked into the world of the movie with no distractions. It will make you feel like you're back in the 80s. And it is so enjoyable to do stuff like that, especially with movies that make you nostalgic or anything like that. I love watching movies like that. I love my wife to death, but some movies like that I love to watch alone because you can't get that sucked in feeling unless you're alone. And if you enjoy that, you will love this movie.
I watched it on my PlayStation with my headset on. So I was very like in it because headset, noise canceling. It was
surround sound.
monitored like, 10 inches from my face. Like I was there and it was awesome.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's my super quick final thoughts on it is that it was fun and it was 80s and I loved it. So this is going to be our rating system for the movies for our
all right
late fee legends. So you're at the movie store. Do you leave it on the shelf and think, now I'll catch it on TV on, Saturday night or something if I'm bored? Do you leave it? Do you rent it? Or do you rent it and keep it extra and pay the late fee?
Me personally, I would probably rent it and just never return it.
Just hope the video store closes down before.
Well, eventually you'll pay enough late fee where you own it. So.
Or you own it. Yep. Yeah, this gets a pay the late fee for me.
Late fee, definitely. Yes. I would watch it so many times.
Yeah. It takes two views, I think, because the twist at the end with Max, like I instantly wanted to go back and try to pick up on little clues. So it's a twofer. You got to watch it twice at least. So
at least
this one, pay the late fee on this one for sure.
100%. I agree.
Anything else?
No, I think that about covers it.
Well, that's it for the first episode of Late Fee Legends. We're going to do this as often as we can. It may be once a month. Who knows? We're adults with kids and jobs, and it's hard to get together.
And a lot of hobbies.
Yeah. So this is going to be one of those shows that happens when it happens. And I'm excited about when it does, and I can't wait. And I will update y'all at some point when we decide on the next movie. So y'all can be excited like us. But
actually, I was going to say, if anybody wants to leave comments for suggestions for movies, feel free to do that.
Please do. Leave comments anywhere you can. YouTube, Spotify. Do they do comments on Apple Music? Probably. I don't know. Leave comments and I'll see them because I check all that stuff regularly. So yeah, recommend movies to us and we'll get to them. So, But until then, be kind, rewind, and we'll see you next time.